What's up, PK family? My name's Nonstop Parkour, and today I got a tutorial for you on probably my favorite backflip variation, the Castaway backflip. Castaway backflip, or just Castaway, or is it castback? I don't know. Let's get to the examples. So something to keep in mind before I start this tutorial, there are a lot of different ways to do a castback or castaway. So for example, if you look at Kaylin Chan's Castaway, it's completely different than Eric Freerun's Castaway. Kaylin does his backflip really quick right after the cast, whereas Eric Freerun, he I know that's not his last name. I don't know his last name. I just know him by his Instagram name. He does a cast really high up, gets his hips really high, and then does the backflip. So it's all preference. So as always, we're not going to start in step 2. We're not going to start in step 3. Obviously, we're going to start in step 1, the technique. So yeah. So the first step is the run up. You want to get a good amount of speed, and I am joking. Anyway, you want to learn a cast as the first step, not a cast back, just a regular cast, which is this. Now to do a cast, you're going to start in a front support like this. You don't want your shoulders slouched. You want it to stay really straight, really high up. And you want your legs to be kind of hugging the wall or just under the bar if you're doing it onto a bar, because obviously you can do either. So just try to get your legs really close to the wall. Now to commence the actual cast, you're going to bring your chest down. So like this, like you're trying to kiss whatever your hands are on. And then, as you're bringing your chest down, you're going to throw your legs up, and then while you're throwing your legs up and you're bringing your chest down, you're going to try to push up with your arms to get your chest up. It sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, it works. So that motion altogether is chest down, legs up, push up. Now, a very, very common problem, and I catch myself doing this a lot, is trying to bring your legs in before they're at their full height. So instead of casting really high like this, and then bring your legs to it, people will try rushing their legs to it. So like that. So remember to make sure you get your hips and legs as high as possible before you do whatever you want to do after that cast. So that again is bring your chest down, legs up, and then push with your arms. So that all together, chest, legs, push. So I recommend, if you haven't learned the cast already, to just drill a cast without the backflip at least 5 or 10 times in a row, just so you have the right feeling before you try adding a backflip afterward. So now that you know how to do a regular cast, let's add a backflip at the end. So you're going to do the exact same setup. You're going to bring your chest down, your legs up, and then as you're doing both of that, you're going to push your chest with your arms up. Now when you are specifically pushing off of the object while you're doing the cast, so this part, you want your arms to be slightly bent, okay? You want them to be slightly bent, so right there. So you can still get a good pop, but your chest isn't so low that you really have to force yourself up. So just slightly bent and then a quick pop. Kind of like a palm flip if you want to think about it that way. And for the legs, when you're like this, they can either be bent or completely straight. As I said before, preference, but it's the way that you tuck that determines whether you get a fast enough rotation. So the way I think of using my legs is I'm in this cast position, and then I straighten my leg, and then kind of do a kicking motion. So knee and kick. Well, a kneeing motion, like you're trying to knee someone. So straighten the leg, knee, kick. This will kind of help you get rotation through your legs and your arms instead of just your arms. The way I see a lot of people do it is that they get their legs straight, and then they kind of just force their knee into their chest without doing the slight kicking motion. Obviously that can work for some people. You might not rotate as fast. So those two examples together, the good version, straighten the leg and then kicking motion, and then the slower version, straightening the leg and then just bringing it straight in. And then from there, after you've pushed off with your arms and then kicked with your legs, it's just all about staying tucked and then feeling out the timing for when to untuck and land. as always with every backflip. So as always, let's do a quick overview. You're gonna be in a front support. Remember, don't slouch your shoulders, keep them straight up. You're going to bring your chest down. As you bring your chest down, you're gonna throw your legs up, and then while you're in the air, you're gonna push up with your arms, which will just make your whole body a bit higher. And then, once you feel like your hips are as high as they can be, or just however you do your cast, you're going to do a quick push off of the object with your arms, and you're gonna do the kicking motion straight, and then knee with your leg, and then from there, you're gonna go into the tuck, and then untuck, and then land beautifully. And then you'll be able to do a cast back. Good job. Now when you want to learn this move at different heights, you just have to kind of be confident that you know when to untuck so you don't under or over rotate, whether it's too high or too low to what you're used to. So kind of the main point from there, if you're doing it off of something high, untuck sooner, and if you're going to be doing it off of something low, untuck later. And that concludes part 1 of this tutorial, and if you add 1 to +1, then you'll get 2. That means we're going to be doing part 2, which is common things people do wrong and how to correct it. This isn't as much of a problem as more of just a learning experience, but the first problem is just not being able to time the tuck with the cast properly. So you might like not cast enough and then try going for the backflip too quickly, so like, or maybe you're trying to cast too high, which is ultimately making your backflip slower, or something like that. But that is much more of a learning experience when you're just first beginning to learn this move, and it usually just gets better. Your timing usually gets better after you do it more. The next common mistake is not being able to cast properly for the castaway backflip. And that just entails not doing any of the things that I said you need to do for a regular cast, which is bring your chest down, bring your legs up, or pushing up with your arms. So just remember you're doing all of that when you commit to a castaway backflip. Now this problem is the thing I had so much trouble with when I learned castaway backflips, because it kind of gave me a security that I wouldn't hit my head on while I was doing the backflip, but it ultimately made me lose a lot of height. And this problem is traveling away too much before you do the backflip. So when I mean travel, I mean where my chest is in relation to the object. You want your chest to be a few inches in front of the object that you're on top of, and a few inches above the object that you're on top of. And you can tell if you're traveling with your cast too much if either your chest is not above the object that you're doing it off of, or you feel like you're pushing out instead of up. So you really think about that if you feel like you're not getting enough height. And the last problem that I see a lot is people just not committing to a really tight tuck, which I do sometimes, honestly. And I don't really need to explain, when you do the cast backflip, you just don't really tuck completely with the backflip. And that can result in you clipping or just you not rotating as fast. So when you do that whole thing, just remember to tuck really tight. And that's really all the problems that I see when doing or seeing others do this move. But of course, I can't cover everything, blah, blah, blah. So if you're still having trouble, you can DM me on all my social media, which is in the description below, and I'll gladly help out. Anyway, third part of the tutorial, how to overcome the fear of the move. First step to overcoming the fear of this move is to just learn casts really well. Learn the cast. Do it well. The next kind of progression to this is, I would say, if you don't have palm flips already, just to learn palm flips first, so you're used to flipping close to a wall. If you don't have palm flips, my palm flip tutorial will be in the description below. So the main fear that I had when learning this move was hitting my head, as I said before, on the wall. So I learned it on a bar before I learned it on a wall. So that's another progression. If you're scared of hitting your head, learn on a bar so there's nothing you can hit. And as always, if you're still so scared to do any of those progressions, just go to a gymnastics gym, attempt it into the foam pit or anything like that so you can get the feeling of it. Do some timers, which is committing to everything except instead of the actual backflip, you land onto your back, onto a pad or something like that. So do timers, go to a gym, do it into something soft, and then go for it outside so you're safe. And that, boys and girls, are all the steps that you need to learn to do a castaway backflip. But just to make sure that you know all of the little things you need to do for the technique, let's go do a quick visual overview. Your starting position will be a front support, To start the castaway, you're going to bring your chest down to the object that your hands are on. Then you're going to throw your legs into the air while you push your chest up using your arms at the same time. But make sure your arms are still slightly bent so you can still get a good pop off of the wall. Then to tuck for the backflip, you're going to straighten your legs and push off of the wall at the same time. Finally, you're going to essentially knee whatever's in front of you, which will bring you into your tuck. And this is just another variation of the castaway called a pop castaway, which I personally think is easier. So guys, I'm gonna do the outro stuff. Thank you for watching so much. If it helped, please give it a big fat like and share, subscribe if you enjoyed, and then ring the notification bell button because it's finally happening. The parkour at school is definitely set on a date. We're gonna be filming next week, so it should be out within the end of the month, hopefully. Probably not, probably a little after, but whatever. Anyway, the main point is I'm gonna be doing a parkour at school video, and it's gonna be so freaking awesome. So you should ring the notification bell button so you know when it happens, and you can be first, and you can be like, first comment, all that good stuff. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. BK person out.